It's been a while since I really got back into using my remote play on my Xbox, but with the release of the new Doom game and me trying to catch up on Ninja Gaiden 2 and ultimately a lot of travel for work, I decided that I wanted to pull up my backbone, bring it with me, and use remote play again. And I was thrown off when I loaded up the app and realized that Microsoft made a fundamental change to the way you do remote play on devices like your phone that, in my opinion, has pretty much ruined the experience entirely. And in this video, I'm going to go over why I think Microsoft has completely damaged how remote play should work on an iOS device, and why I'm ultimately disappointed and why you should be too as a Xbox gamer. So let's talk about it. So I loaded up the Xbox app. I started going through it, trying to connect to remote play with my backbone hooked up to my phone. And I noticed something strange. It said that I had to go to the Xbox website and basically use remote play through there, which, to be fair, I'd done that on the PC end of things, and I'd done it on even my MacBook end of things, but my primary use for remote play is on my phone. I like the idea that being at home I can use it. I've actually used it traveling quite a bit with my backbone hooked up to my phone, and so I was a little thrown off by this, disappointed even, but I thought, you know what, Microsoft probably hasn't figured out. It's probably going to work fine on the mobile browsers that I have. Once I went through which I felt was a very slow and not intuitive process of trying to get everything reset up again. Once I got through that and got my phone connected and got it running through the browser, I started off trying this with Safari, which is built into my iPhone. And there appears to be like some sort of screen lock that happens with the browser, which means you can't shrink the address bar on the screen, which makes the screen dramatically smaller than it should be. That was frustrating. So I thought maybe this is just an issue with Safari. So I jumped into Chrome, which is my primary browser on my iOS device. So I hopped onto Chrome. I went in there, I looked at looked at the same setup, I set everything up, and I got my Xbox connected, and again, the exact same issue. It locks the address bar, you have a shrunken down screen. This to me completely defeats the purpose of playing my Xbox on my iOS device. If anything, it's actually incredibly disappointing. And I'm not sure why this change was made. Now I looked to Reddit, which seems to be the standard place you look, but I looked to Reddit to see what other people were saying, and a lot of people are surmising that because the Xbox app can now be used to purchase Xbox-based titles, there's some weird quirk with Apple that you can't play and purchase in the same app when it comes to games. I'm not sure if that's true. I'm not going to tell you that this is gospel, but this seems to be the theory that's floating around recently on Reddit. This would completely be, in my opinion, a non-issue if this worked in the browser, if it didn't result in me having a shrunken down screen that, in my opinion, makes this an uncomfortable experience. You already lost a little bit of the screen on the Xbox app, but it worked for the most part. It was acceptable, and on my iPhone 12 or 13, whatever model it is, I thought it looked good. I thought visually it looked good. I did test out remote play through this, and the latency was pretty much non-existent. It felt good, but that small shrunken down screen, using it on an iOS device, in my opinion, is not worth it. It doesn't feel good, and I'm incredibly disappointed with how Microsoft has went about this. I assume that Reddit poster that I'm citing is probably somewhere in the ballpark of being correct, and it's such a shame because to me, one of the major features of having my Xbox app was being able to run remote play through it. And it was an app that I've used in waves. I've used it with my backbone device when I'm traveling. I like using it around the house so I can play my Xbox in a different room. And it's such a shame that this pivot was made that, in my opinion, if you're using a phone device, deems this as being pretty much unplayable. And that's purely because it's just not a comfortable looking screen size, and it really detracts from any fun I feel like I would have had it just been left the same way. And look, maybe if you're using like an iPad or you're playing on your desktop PC, this is completely different, but I know I'm not in a minority of people who like taking advantage of using a add-on device like the Backbone and playing my Xbox device in other places, in hotels or when I'm on the road. And so the fact that Microsoft made this pivot to me is very short-sighted and ultimately disappointing, and has ruined the remote play experience on my devices.